Seeing is believing. Welcome to another episode of The Brood Awakening. That's right, you are about to experience the Brood Awakening. Waking you up to certain realities in business and life. You're welcome. Today I want to talk to you about seeing's believing. It's a reality of the human mind. You know, we aren't as inclined to believe what we hear. We're inclined to believe what we see. And part of that is simply the way our brains were wired centuries ago. Survival instincts. You know, our sixth sense. There's an old saying that if it doesn't feel right or look right, probably isn't right. So if you ever find yourself in a situation traveling down a street or, walking into a building and something just doesn't feel right, that's that part of your brain, your subconscious mind that has that very primitive survival instinct wired into it. You should pay attention to that. And I share that with you also because that's just how our mind makes lots of other decisions. And not based on what we hear, not based on speculation, rumor, marketing, advertising, but based on reality, or at least our perception of reality. We've all heard that expression, perception is reality. Now, specifically what I want to talk about is the concept of popularity as it relates to like a brick and mortar location. If you pulled up to a restaurant that your friend told you was great, and you pulled up there, you said, first of all, you said to them, do I need a reservation? And they said, no, you don't need a reservation. So you just decide you and the family are going to go out to dinner. You pull up in the parking lot of that restaurant on a Saturday night at dinner time, and it's empty. What does that tell you? Seeing is believing. You're going to believe your friend's delusional. First, you might think the place is closed, it hasn't opened for dinner yet. But if it were open and the parking lot were empty, you would not believe it was a popular restaurant. And rightfully so. You have no reason, there's no evidence pointing to the fact that it would be popular if the parking lot's empty on a Saturday night at dinner time. Seeing is believing. That would completely negate the word of mouth recommendation that you heard from a friend who now you're questioning their judgment. So I share that full parking lot analogy because it doesn't just relate to a restaurant at dinner time, it relates to people's perceptions of your business. One of the things I love about the last two office spaces I leased is the fact that the parking lot is always full. It's hard to get a parking spot. And I don't look at that as being inconvenient for my visitors and guests. I look at it as a very positive first impression for them. Yeah, it's a shared space for me with a bunch of other businesses. However, a full parking lot's a very positive sign. And I remember people who also leased space in my last office building would complain about the parking lot and complain about the parking situation. And they wanted me to get on board with a petition to send to the property manager and the building owner to do something about the parking crisis. They called it a crisis. I called it an opportunity. And I don't mean like an opportunity to fix a problem. I mean like it's a great marketing opportunity for you and the perception of your business, especially if you're a new business without a proven track record. To have one of your guests, a prospect, a visitor, a customer come in and see a full parking lot, that's a popularity indicator right there. That's positive proof tried to explain that to them, but they didn't quite get it. They didn't want to hear that, mainly because they were inconvenienced, you know. I put it this way, they weren't exactly the first people in and the last people out of the building every day. I usually like to get in early. Sometimes I'll leave early, but I love to get into the office early. So parking is never an issue for me. I usually get that first spot right by the door. Parking's an issue for others. But for guests and customers, it's evidence. It's positive evidence of popularity. So I want to encourage you to rethink and kind of reframe, you know, how you look at crowded places. And at the time of this recording, there's a pandemic and nothing is supposed to be crowded. We're practicing social distancing, but you know what I mean. A crowded website. I don't mean the layout and design. I mean a website that gets a lot of traffic. A website that has a lot of reviews posted to it. Preferably good reviews, but a lot of reviews, a lot of feedback and comments. That's the online equivalent of a crowded parking lot. Embrace that. Isn't it a red flag for you when you go to, let's say, like TripAdvisor or, you know, one of those dining open table type apps, and the restaurant doesn't have a lot of reviews? That's an empty parking lot. So think about how you need to have a crowded parking lot, a full parking lot, so to speak, in your business. I'm in a good spot, literally and figuratively, in that my office currently is above a very popular cafe and restaurant in town that also gets a lot of foot traffic. So, you know, there's always activity, it's always busy, the parking lot's always full, there's hustle and bustle, a lot of positive energy. It's great foods, people are walking in, smiling, happily waiting in line and walking out smiling. That adds to the atmosphere when I have guests visit. One shining example of somebody that just doesn't get it, though, is there's a very popular kind of, it's got like a cult following, donut shop here in Maine. It's like a small, I wouldn't even call it a franchise. There's a couple locations. They also deliver donuts to other merchants, other stores, convenience stores, corner stores, bakeries. Anyway, this donut shop opens up early, and they only stay open until they run out of inventory. So if you live here in Maine, you probably know who I'm talking about, just based on that little quirk. Anyway, when my friends visit from out of state, I always take them there because it's like a fun place that tourists want to go, which seems weird. Like, you would think they would want to go to Acadia National Park, Bar Harbor, the waterfront on Commercial Street in Portland, Maine, the mountains. A lot of people want to visit this donut place, and it's right off the turnpike on their way traveling north. So we go there. And one time I was there, and the line was literally wrapped around the building. Like walk-up traffic, people walking up and waiting on the sidewalk, and it was wrapped around the building, that line. The traffic filled every parking space in the parking lot and was backed up, not just onto the road that the shop sits on, but it was backed all the way up to like the main route that you come in on. People are flying down the road 65 miles an hour, and off to the shoulder, you saw this line of traffic of cars waiting to get into this donut shop. So when I got to the front of the line, I just asked to speak to the manager, and fortunately the manager was right there, and I introduced myself and I said, "Hey, have you looked outside? You have a golden opportunity. Send somebody up on the roof to take a picture of the line wrapping around the building and all the cars, not just down the street and filling the parking lot, but, a line of traffic on the shoulder of the main drag out there. And their response was, why? And I knew they didn't get it at that point. And sure, yeah, you're already wildly popular. However, there might come a day when you aren't. There might come a day when you have tough competition. And you would want to be able to pull that piece of marketing collateral out of your toolbox. So I just said, I think it'd be great marketing. You can make a nice Christmas card. You could put it on the banner of your website, your social media, anything. Couldn't be bothered, and that's fine. Not everyone gets it, so to speak. And those who don't get it don't get the fact that they don't get it, and they'll never get it as a result. That was a mouthful. So my advice to you is figure out ways to showcase what many would deem as a shortcoming or a problem. A crowd, a full parking lot, a line. Showcase that as positive social proof. Because seeing is believing. We've become such a skeptical consumer base, in large part because we are over-marketed to. There are exponentially more ads and brand impressions thrown in front of our face, whether it's in person or via a screen thrown in front of our face every day. It used to be, back when I was a little Coach Brew, it used to be a few hundred brand impressions a day the average American adult would be exposed to. And then when I was a young adult, it was a few thousand, like 3,000 to 7,000 when I went from like my 20s into my 30s. I'm on my second 49th birthday, and it's more like we probably have conservatively 30,000 brand impressions across our face at any given moment, not any given moment, but over the course of a day, a 24-hour period. We are so over-marketed to, it's scary. So we become skeptical and cynical unless we see positive physical proof with our own two eyes. And I don't mean the form of an ad, I mean in the form of our perception of an actual reality. The full parking lot, so to speak. And that is your Brewed Awakening. Take what others see as a problem, look at it through the exact opposite lens, because it is in fact a great opportunity. If you want more content like this, make sure, if you're not already subscribed, if you're watching this on BrewTube, to click subscribe. After you do that, ding the little bell that comes up so you get those notifications of future videos when they drop. And if you'd like to leave a comment, feel free to do so. You can also follow me at CoachBrew.com, where if you sign up for my electronic newsletter, which you want to do, sign up for that. You're going to get a special report delivered to your mailbox. 12 ways to double your sales, double your results. It's a $99 value I give you for free just for signing up. Catch you in the next episode of The Brewed Awakening.